Being positive during a tennis match has nothing to do with smiling and pumping your fist after every point. That's not positivity, that's performance. And it falls apart the moment things go wrong, which in tennis is constantly. Real positivity during a match is something quieter, more deliberate, and way more useful than any fist pump ever was. And there are 5 specific things you can do. Actual habits, actual behaviors that keep you mentally in the match when everything in your head is telling you to check out. The players who seem calm and focused and hard to rattle aren't built differently than you. They just learned 5 things you haven't learned yet. Here's all of them. 1. Stop trying to feel good and start trying to feel neutral. This is the one that most people get backwards from the very beginning. When someone says be positive during a match, the picture in your head is probably a player who's energized, confident, bouncing on their toes, celebrating good balls. And that picture is wrong. That's not what mental stability looks like in a tennis match. Real positivity in tennis is flatness, emotional flatness. The same energy level on the point after a clean winner is on the point after a double fault. The same pace between points when you're up 5-2 as when you're down 2-5. Not happy, not confident necessarily. Just the same. Neutral. Steady. Here's why that matters. Emotional peaks and valleys cost you tennis. When you make a great shot and get too high, the next point is played from a slightly overconfident, slightly loose place. When you miss an easy ball and drop too low, the next point is played from a tight, self-conscious, protective place. Both of those emotional states produce worse tennis than neutral does. Every single time, the players who perform most consistently under pressure, the ones who seem unrattleable, the ones you can never quite read, are emotionally flat. They've trained themselves to not get too excited when things go well and not sink too low when things go wrong, because both directions take you away from the same place. And that place, that calm, present, slightly boring neutral state, is where your best tennis lives. Stop chasing feeling good during a match. Chase feeling the same. That's the actual goal. 2. Your body language is either helping you or destroying you. Your brain doesn't just control your body controls your brain right back. And this is one of the most practically useful things you can understand about staying positive on a tennis court. When you drop your head, your shoulders slump, and you walk slowly back to the baseline after a bad point, your brain receives that physical signal and processes it as confirmation that the situation is bad and getting worse. The body is telling the brain, things are not okay, and the brain responds by increasing anxiety, narrowing focus, and making the next point feel heavier than it actually is. When you walk tall, keep your chin up, and move at a deliberate pace regardless of what just happened, your brain receives a completely different signal. Not that everything is great, just that the situation is manageable, that there's no emergency, that you are still in control of yourself even if you're not in control of the score. And from that state, the next point starts from a much better place. This is not fake confidence. This is using your body deliberately to manage your brain's threat response. The research on this is solid. Body posture directly affects hormone levels, specifically cortisol and testosterone, which directly affect how anxious or composed you feel. You can change how you feel chemically by changing how you carry yourself physically, and it takes about 10 seconds to do. After every point, and especially bad ones, make one deliberate physical choice. Walk at a normal pace. Head up, shoulders back. Not a performance? Just a decision. Your brain will follow. And if you want to take your tennis to the next level, check out the Tennis Master Pack. A pack that includes the Elite Player Guide with technical and tactical tips, the Become a Pro Guide where you'll learn how to become a pro tennis player, a full week fitness routine to take your fitness to the next level, and a prevention routine to prevent injuries and enhance recovery. This pack already helped hundreds of tennis players. Get your clicking on the link in the description. Let's continue with the video. 3. Replace the last point with the next one. Here's what most players do the moment a ball lands out. The inner voice starts. That was because I didn't turn my shoulder. Or, I always miss that shot when I'm nervous. Or, that's the 3rd time I've done that today. And for the next 15 to 20 seconds, while the next point is starting, that voice is still narrating the last one. That voice feels useful. It feels like you're processing, learning, adjusting. But it's not. It's keeping you in the past. And in tennis, the past is the most useless place your brain can be during a match. The last point is done. Nothing you think about it changes it, and everything you think about it takes attention away from the only thing that can actually affect the outcome, the next ball. The habit to build is a physical reset that cuts the voice off immediately. Not a thought, a gesture, something physical and familiar that your brain has learned means that chapter is closed. Some players touch their strings, some tap their thigh, some take one specific breath. Whatever it is, It needs to happen immediately after the point ends, and it needs to be exactly the same every time. What you're building is a Pavlovian response. Do the gesture enough times at the end of a point, and eventually the gesture alone signals to your brain that the previous point is filed and the slate is clean. The voice doesn't stop because you told it to. It stops because the gesture replaced it with a transition, and the transition is enough. 4. Have one simple focus to come back to. There are moments in a match where the mental noise gets loud. You're down a break in the third set. The serve is misfiring. Your opponent is playing better than you expected, and your brain, trying to help, starts throwing everything at the problem. Technique fixes, tactical adjustments, score calculations, emotional management, all at once. And the result is paralysis. You're thinking too much and playing too little. The players who stay positive in those moments don't think more. They think less. They have one simple phrase, one simple focus that they come back to when the noise gets loud. Watch the ball, stay low, feet moving. One thing. Simple enough to hold in your head between points without effort. Clear enough to actually direct your attention somewhere useful. That one thought does two things. It gives your brain somewhere to go instead of the spiral, and it redirects your focus towards something you can actually control. A physical habit, a technical cue, something happening right now in front of you, rather than the score, the result, or the story about what's going wrong. Pick yours before your next match. One phrase. Make it physical and present tense. Write it on your hand if you need to. And when the noise starts, come back to that phrase. Not as a cure, as an anchor. It keeps you from drifting too far into the spiral, which is enough. You don't need to feel calm. You need to stay close enough to calm that your body can still execute. In this video, I show you 7 mental exercises you should do as a tennis player. I recommend you watch it after this one. 5. Losing the first set is not losing the match. This one sounds obvious when you hear it, and then a set goes against you and your brain immediately treats it like a disaster anyway, because knowing something intellectually and having your nervous system actually believe it are two completely different things. Most players, when they lose the first set, experience something that feels like the match is already over. Not consciously, but the energy changes, the decision-making gets tighter, the shots get smaller. The brain has categorized the first set as evidence, proof that the result is decided, and it starts playing to protect whatever is left rather than compete for what's possible. Here's the factual reality that your brain needs to hold on to in that moment. Tennis is specifically designed as a comeback sport. The scoring system was built so that one bad set doesn't end the match. The best players in the world, Djokovic, Nadal, Federer, lose first sets constantly, in slam finals, against each other, and then win the match. Not because they got lucky, because they treated the first set as one piece of information, adjusted, and competed from the second set with a clean slate. Losing the first set is not a setback. It's a data point. You now know more about your opponent than you did an hour ago. You know their patterns, their pace, what's working for them, and you have 2 more sets to use that information. The match doesn't get more interesting until someone loses something. You just got to the interesting part. Train your brain to hold that frame before the match even starts. Not as a motivational speech, as a genuine belief built on understanding how the sport actually works. When the first set goes, your brain doesn't spiral because it already knew this was always a possibility and always survivable. 5 things. Chase neutral, not positive. Flat emotions produce consistent tennis. Use your body deliberately because your posture sends signals your brain actually listens to. Replace the last point with a physical reset instead of an internal explanation. Have one simple anchor phrase to come back to when the noise gets loud, and understand that losing a set is information, not a verdict. None of these are complicated. None of them require you to be a different kind of person. They're habits, and habits are built through repetition, not personality. Take one of these into your next match. Just one. Drop a comment telling me which one you're going to try. I'm reading all of them. Subscribe for more of this. Blue Tennis Dude. See you in the next one.